good afternoon, and welcome. It's certainly a pleasure to be here. I know it's another great day, another of many great days in athletics here at the University of Wisconsin as we dedicate the Stephen M. Bennett Student Athlete Performance Center. It's just a phenomenal facility, and it's just terrific addition to the greatest university going right now. We have a few people who will speak to us tonight. I want to recognize a couple of folks there. This 32,000 square foot facility serves all the student athletes in a variety of ways, academically, obviously, and so on and so forth. I want to introduce a couple of folks, just wave if you would. Mark Shook, Assistant Athletics Director for Academic Services. Mark, back there. And Bridget Woodruff, the Director of Student Athlete Development. Very dedicated. Want to introduce Coach Alvarez. I've had the thrill of doing this a number of times. I get to do it one more time here tonight. Second decade as the athletics director here. Seen nearly 50 teams win conference championships. More than a dozen have won national titles. And since we're talking academics, more than 1,000 student athletes. In Coach's time as the AD, more than 1,000 student athletes have been recognized for academic all Big Ten work. On and off the field, they get it done here. Please welcome Athletics Director Barry Hockey.
Very much, Matt. Matt and I do go back. I just had to giggle to myself as he introduced me. We started together in 1990 doing a radio show, and it was a call-in show. And no one called in. So we had to occupy an hour. Finally, after about mid-season, I told the coaches, "You guys start." So Dan McCarney called in. He's Dutch from the Forest. Billy Callahan would call in. And then John Palermo, and they'd all take turns calling in just to occupy our hour. So Matt and I have been together a long time. We could do an hour show. You wake us up at 4 in the morning, we do an hour show just like that and be entertaining. So thank you. There's no one I'd rather have introduce me than Matt LePay. To all of you, I say thank you. Thank you for your tremendous support. Thank you for helping Badger Athletics. I like to think that in this field of academics, you know, we have not had any credit, but in the Big Ten, this is the second time we've been the leader in this area. Back in the early 90s, we built the Fetzer Center. We took the basement of the McLean Center and we built an academic center. Prior to that, when Tausch probably showed up, we had a little room in the back of the auditorium where we had 2 computers. And that was their study. And then they had the auditorium. And that was their study hall. And we had a vision to build an academic center for the athletes. That spring, the academic advisors from around the Big Ten came in and had a conference here. And I happened to be walking right up this ramp, and a guy named Fred Mims, who's the academic advisor at Iowa, a friend of mine when I coached there, stopped me and he said, "Do you know what you just did?" I said, "Fred, I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "You just built something that no one else in the league has. We're all going to go home and we're going to build one better than you." I said, "That's great. You know, if we can be, the leaders, we have no problem with that." Well, we've done that again. We've done that again in this state-of-the-art facility. Academic advisors just met again in Chicago, and our people took our information back. Now they're all taking it back to their schools, and they'll try to emulate what we've done, but we'll have a 5-year head start on it. But it makes me proud because we have things right, not only here, but in our conference. And it's about student athlete. And we certainly do that right here. To have 900 student athletes have over a 3.0 GPA is like off the charts. And this is not a university where grades are given to you or you take an easy ride. You're taking meat and potatoes courses here. You're taking courses that count. And it makes me very proud that we compete so well on the field, and we turn around, and I couldn't, at any time I have the opportunity to brag and say how proud I am of our student athletes, I do it. And I hear it around the leagues, especially from the old timers who say, you know what, I love the way your athletes represent your university. And that means so much to me. I mean, they go out, they represent, I tell them, I meet with all the freshmen every year, and I talk to them about, you're wearing that Motion W, you're representing a lot of people. Wear that Motion W very proudly, and realize who you represent and how you're going to represent them. Make them proud of you. And they certainly do that. That makes me feel good, makes me understand that we're doing things the right way. But we couldn't do it without your help. And this is a prime example of that. We had the vision several years ago. We showed pictures of facilities around the country. We showed facilities of ours. And I want you to envision this. Now, if you look up this corridor here, this is really a beautiful entryway. And if a young person comes in this weekend to visit, we'll have a tent set up over there. It's safe for football. And then they walk into the Hall of Champions, and they look up this corridor. And here's your academic. The coach can point it up. This is your academic center. Well, a few years ago, you walked in. Basically, you saw a tunnel under the stadium. You saw a garbage can right next to the door where you went to the McLean Center. And we didn't think anything of it because that's where we worked and that's where we did our business. But when you took a picture of that, and then you went around the country and took a look at what everyone else had, and the thing that really struck home with me was when we started losing recruits. That was a nerve that I know our people like to win. We like to be competitive. And for us to do that, we had to make something happen. And we were able to do that. And without your help, we couldn't have gotten it done. And I couldn't be more proud of the facility that you allowed us to build. Tonight, I'm going to have former player Mark Tauscher talk about maybe the differences. I'm going to have a current coach talk about how it affects her program. And we'll have a current athlete talk about their life. So with that, thank you again to all of you. You've made a difference in a lot of people's lives.
And by the way, he is exactly right about that radio show when he first got here. As he always says, the best stories are the true ones, and that was true. And funny when you win, that filling that hour is really easy, and it became really easy thanks to Coach Alvarez and his staff and the players that they brought in, and we continue to enjoy that success here today. As Coach mentioned, we're going to have a former player here, and somebody had a chance to really get to know knew him when he played, and really get to work with him a little bit now. And some of the Badger football radio broadcasts, Mark Tauscher works with us alongside Mike Lucas, and it's been a lot of fun. He's a very, very familiar face, obviously, to sports fans in this state. Former star at Auburndale High School, came down to the University of Wisconsin, and became a member of Big Ten championship teams and got to play professionally in the state of Wisconsin. Let me rephrase that. The Green Bay Packers got the opportunity to get Mark Tauscher to go to Green Bay, and became a starter as a rookie and was a Packer for more than a decade. What many people know, but maybe those who don't, Mark has a master's degree in educational administration. He's always taken academics extremely seriously. As a matter of fact, several years ago, he started his Trifecta Foundation, which stands for Tauscher's Reading Initiative for Every Child to Achieve. He is one of the generous donors to this great project. And now, speaking on behalf of all the former student athletes at the University of Wisconsin, I'm actually saying something nice about you. Let me introduce Mark Tauscher.
You remember? Well, that was nice of Matt. Before I kind of get into what the facilities were like and how awesome they are now, just want to tell you guys a recruiting story with Coach Alvarez. I was, like Matt said, I went to high school at Auburndale and was not getting recruited by very many places until our basketball team made it down to the state tournament. And we made it down, and Pat O'Connor, who was kind of the walk-on recruiter, saw me playing and said, you know, Coach would like to meet you after your tournament's done. We think maybe you can play for us. So I went into Coach's office, and you know, it's a Rose Bowl champion. Coach is a legend in the state of Wisconsin, and you know, here I am from a small town, just nervous as all get out. Sit down in his office, it's real intimidating, and he says, you know, Thomas, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, we like to run the football here. You know, can you run block? I said, Coach, I'm dominant at the point of attack. I'm going to get your guy cut off on the backside. I'm going to be great for you running the football. Okay? You know, we don't pass often, but if we do, you know, can you pass block? I said, Coach, I'm going to mirror my guy. I'm going to have my hands inside. You know, anytime you're going to pass it, don't worry about it. My guy's not going to touch the quarterback. He said, all right, well, gosh, you know, your grades must not be good. You're not getting recruited anywhere. What? Are your grades not good? I said, Coach, I'm a National Honor Society student. You know, my grade point's great. I can get in. You know, no problem. I'll get in. And Coach looks at me and says, God dang it, Tausch, I don't understand this. You know, you're a great pass blocker. You're a great run blocker. Really smart kid. You know, what are your weaknesses? And I said, Coach, I lie about everything. But it really has been a complete honor, and to get the opportunity to come down here, and you know, when we came down, it was a huge thing. You know, I came from a town with no stoplights, and to come down to Madison was huge, and the adjustment and the things that we had to go through to kind of make it go. And this place means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the former athletes. And to see where we started from with, like Coach said, 2 computers, a lot of people jockeying for those computers. There wasn't iPads, there wasn't Wi-Fi. It was, you know, you get your tutors, you would get it. And it was always, academics was always important, and you can see with these facilities that you're putting your money where your mouth is. And I think as athletes, we want the athletes coming behind us to have it better. And I think, speaking for the other athletes that have donated and done things, these facilities, we want to make sure we're as competitive as possible. We want to win, and we're doing it the right way. And I think with athletes donating and with all you guys doing what you guys do to make these facilities first rate, we're not going to lose those recruits. We're going to stay at the top. And I just commend you guys and thank you for the great opportunity. I've appreciated it, and you know, on Wisconsin.
Representing the student athletes of today from women's soccer is McKenna Moyer, junior midfielder from Memorial High School right here in Madison. And it's safe to say that sports are rather important in her family. Her grandfather, as a matter of fact, was a swimmer here in the first year of the program. Her father, Kelly, played soccer here, as did her sisters, Molly and Katie. Brother Keegan, it's a name that would ring a bell. Keegan Moyer is a hockey player, same for her uncles, Jeff and Rob and Dringa. Rob and Dringa's her uncle? Wow. You're doing really well anyway. Congratulations to you. He's not even here. It's less fun when he's not here. Last fall, McKenna earned academic All-Big Ten recognition, and just a few weeks ago, she scored the game-winning goal in victory against Purdue. By the way, her team is back in action on Sunday, traveling down to Evanston to take on Northwestern. Please welcome McKenna Moyer.
Hi, I should start by saying I don't give many speeches, so just bear with me a little bit. Hello everyone, thank you for having me here tonight. My name is McKenna Moyer. I'm a junior on the soccer team here at Wisconsin. I'm in the middle of my biology undergrad, and I have the hope of becoming a physician's assistant after I leave here. So, as Matt LePay already said, I was actually born in Madison, and my family's always been very involved in Wisconsin athletics. My grandpa swam here. In the first year, it was a varsity sport, actually, which is kind of cool. My dad played soccer. My uncles, Jeff and Rob, won national championships here in hockey. I'm the 4th one of my siblings to go here. My older sisters, Molly and Katie, both played soccer, graduating in '05 and '07. And Keegan, my older brother, just graduated in May after playing hockey. So between all my family members and growing up in a community so close to university, it was kind of a no-brainer deciding I wanted to play college soccer here. So that's kind of how I ended up here. So tonight, I represent all the student athletes as we say thank you to all of you donors for providing us with these amazing facilities. My freshman year, we actually weren't so fortunate. We used the away football team locker room and the natatorium as our locker room. Our Fetzer Center was in the varsity club up on the 6th floor, which we couldn't always access due to football games on the weekends. Anytime we had medical appointments, we sort of had to find our own way to get out to the West Side clinics or to the hospital. So we never really had a home or sort of a space that was totally meant for us. So that spring in my freshman year, all of these facilities were finally finished, and we all of a sudden had access to a team locker room, an equipment room that does our laundry, a weight room, a training room, a sports medicine room, academic facilities including tutor rooms, the Badger Alley Bistro, and the most important part of all of this is that because of all of you, it's all in the same location and very, very convenient for everyone. As a student athlete, you learn the meaning of time management very well. Basically, on any given day, you have to practice, eat, lift, go to class, go to tutors, all while balancing exams, your games, and away trips. So it can get tough, but having an amazing facility that is dedicated to making our lives easier is more beneficial than we could ever put in words. I should also mention to you that I have brought my sisters and my dad and everyone down to see our facilities, and I can't tell you how jealous they are, so thank you for that. As I mentioned before, I'm on the soccer team here. I'm not sure, I got to speak with a lot of you before this actually, which was awesome, so I may have told you this a little bit, but we actually didn't have such a successful fall last fall. We ended up 6th in conference, we lost in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, we didn't make the NCAA tournament, and we had the lowest team GPA for a women's team here. So about 3 weeks after our season ended, our whole team and our coaching staff got together and discussed all of our shortcomings. We felt very strongly that we completely underperformed. We expected more of ourselves as student athletes representing the University of Wisconsin. So we took it upon ourselves to make changes. The next 6 months, we met at 7:45 every morning for team meetings in our new media center rooms. That way we stayed on top of communication. We would go up to the McLean turf for practices, and then 3 times a week, we also lifted and did extra running in the weight room with our strength trainer. Being treated for injuries or rehab was no longer an option or a hassle because it fit in easily before or after practice. In our locker room, we have a lot of team bonding now. We have a ping pong table and we get to watch soccer games, so our team chemistry is just incredible now. We also added 2 study halls a week here in the Stephen M. Bennett Student Athlete Performance Center and bi-monthly advisor meetings to improve our GPA. So that being said, after all these changes, this year has been a much different story. Our team GPA last spring was a 3.2. We started our season off 7-0, which was our best start in something like 2 decades, I believe. And we're currently 11-2-1 and ranked 12th in the country. So I tell you guys all this because I want you to understand just how pivotal a role the facilities play in our success. The changes that we implemented would not have been possible without all of your incredible donations. Without the luxury and efficiency of being able to do everything we need to do in the same place, we simply could not have had the tremendous turnaround that we have had. And we're just one of the many teams that use these facilities every single day. Every single team here whose performances have greatly increased thanks to you. So on behalf of all Badgers, present, past, and future, I would like to express our gratitude and let you know that you really do make a difference in our lives every day. So thank you all so much for making our experience as a Badger even better. Thank you.
stole a lot of your material, but you blew right past that. That was perfect. Very good. That's what Badgers do. You improvise, you overcome. Bring up current coach, softball coach Yvette Healy, now in their 5th year, head coach of the Badgers, and she has flipped this program around. It is now recognized as one of the top teams in the country with a couple of tournament bids here these last 2 seasons. Last year is a team that won 36 games despite playing the toughest schedule that it has had in the history of Wisconsin softball. Last year's group showed power and speed as a team hit 48 home runs, which is the 2nd best in the history of the program, and actually broke a school record by stealing 114 bases. It was a good mix. It was power and speed in last year's team, which was very, very good again on and off the field. They represented very, very well. 5 Badger softball players earned All-America Scholar Athlete honors. Currently playing their fall schedule, Coach Healy's team is 5-0, and they'll have a doubleheader on Sunday afternoon right here against UW Parkside. Please welcome softball coach Yvette Healy.
Thank you, Matt. It's such an honor to be here today. I think to get to represent the amazing coaches here as someone growing up in Chicago and being near all of this, I am truly a fan of great coaching. So when I got to meet Coach Alvarez a couple years ago and he told me about the opportunity to come up here and coach, I was really in awe. This is an amazing place that just has such a history and legacy of great athletic performance. I love to watch great coaches, read about them, read their books. I read Coach Alvarez's book the night that I was interviewed. Quickly, that was the night before I had to read. I had to make sure that I wasn't flinching in my interview with him and I was on track. But if you're from the Midwest, you know the story of Wisconsin and what's gone on here athletically and how successful the athletics have been. To tell you the truth though, when I came up to interview, I had no idea what I was in for, what kind of school I was walking into. I just thought, Big Ten, big sports, big money. And I had no idea the heart behind the programs. And getting to sit down with Coach Alvarez in the first couple of minutes, I was really warmed up to the idea of, I thought it was just all about Rose Bowls and Final Fours and Frozen Fours and athletic success. And really that conversation had everything to do with the kids. It had to do with the kids, their academics, their experience, what they were going to walk away with when they came to this university, and I was floored. Of course, I was looking out the window in his office, and if you've been in Coach Alvarez's office, you can't help but stare at the field and think about all the success that happened there. And in my first couple seasons here, people said, this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. We're going to the Rose Bowl. So my husband and I took all our money and we said, okay, we're going to make our trip. And then it was 3 Rose Bowls, which was really expensive for the Healys. But we found our way to go. Even after having baby number 2, we made it and took the whole family and went out there and got to experience that. So as a coach, being front row and getting to see the athletic success of our counterparts has been really fun. Seeing the Frozen Four, seeing the women's hockey team going on and Olympic players coming off that team, watching women's volleyball, making their run and being in national championship games, seeing the Final Four last year and our team getting to watch basketball, do all those things, that has been really amazing. But I'll tell you, my greatest source of pride has been seeing this building go up. And it's been so fun these 4 years as a staff, beyond all the athletic accomplishments, watching the anticipation of the athletes as everybody was moving around and juggling and in swing space, as you heard our athletes talking about what people did with their locker rooms. Seeing this building go up, I think everyone had the feeling, from coaches to administrators to staff, of what was really important. So the anticipation went up, and when we walked in the door and seeing our athletes walk in the door for where they got to study, where they got to see tutors, where they got to come and talk about their internships and all of their training and what they were going to do and how they were going to work on their resumes, and their excitement level for being at a school that cares more about their success and their development and their leadership than just about what they're giving on the field, that means a lot to me. I think character is what keeps people at places, and this school has more character than any school in the country. When people walk into Wisconsin, they get the athletic side, but I know why all of you must have donated so much to this cause has to do with the character of why these kids matter. So thank you to our development staff for all of your hard work in making this happen. I know the hours that must have gone into a project of this magnitude. Thank you to all of the administrators for your vision to say, let's make this happen. This is on the docket. This is important to us. It's a priority. But more importantly, the generosity of our donors tonight. Really, this is what I want to be about when we get into coaching and we think about changing people's lives. Facilities like this, every day when we walk in parking lot 17 and get to walk past this building and walk through the doors, this is what moves the needle for us as coaches. To know that we're at a place that values our student athletes and their leadership and their development and what they're going to do academically in their futures, knowing that this is such a priority beyond just what we do on the field, that means a lot to us. So thank you for making this university so special to us as coaches. Thanks for making our jobs easier. When we recruit and get to bring people through these buildings, boy, we don't have to talk as much, which is just really enjoyable for someone like me to get to take a breath and let them look around these places. But thank you so much for your generosity and your support in making this an amazing university. On Wisconsin.
Said is spot on to the camaraderie, the coaches here, the way they support, and the athletes too, the way they support each other. The football guys root for the basketball players the same, and volleyball, so on and so forth. Maybe it's like this at some other schools. I don't think it's any better though than what it is here, the way everybody pulls together. And as everybody has said, the generosity of the University of Wisconsin community, it's amazing. It is second to none in the country, what you have done to make this facility possible. This is a world-class university, and now a world-class facility, the latest example we are in right now. And a shining example of that generosity is with us tonight. All of you certainly fall under that category, but Steve Bennett, as many of you know, was a star athlete here at the University of Wisconsin himself. He was a guy who simply could flat out hit. As a matter of fact, he is in that fraternity called the 400 Hitters Club. Sophomore year here, he hit .458 for the Badgers, led the team in doubles and RBIs. The fact is, big league scouts had a lot of interest in Steve pursuing a professional baseball career, but Steve, who double majored here in finance and real estate, opted to enter the business world instead, and that was a very good thing for the business world. For more than 2 decades, Steve was with General Electric, managing a number of organizations from consumer divisions to financial services. He was also president and CEO of the technology firm Intuit, known for its software such as Quicken, QuickBooks, and TurboTax. Those who know the field considered Intuit as one of the best places around that you could possibly work, and for 3 straight years, Fortune magazine tapped it as the most admired software company. Steve has been a great friend to the University of Wisconsin, and I say that with dramatic understatement. He has been a great friend to this institution and more, and by being the lead donor to this, I'll say it again, 32,000 square foot jewel of a facility that serves every student athlete on this campus. Steve represents everything that is right about being a student athlete here, and certainly he represents everything that is right about being a Wisconsin Badger. Please welcome Mr. Steve Bennett.
It's a great time to be a Badger. Our journey to this be here today started with buying into Barry's vision and Chad Kimmel's vision about the student athlete. And we started with a little project that we're in now called Bennett Family Hall. And I'd like to recognize my Uncle Tom in the front row with me. Our family has similar, McKenna, to your family, quite a history. My dad played football, multi-year letter winner. My Uncle Tom, I read his plaque on the Hall of Fame wall, and I'm still really impressed by all the things that he did. And Cousin Beth, where's Cousin Bethy? My cousin Beth happens to be married to Mike Eves, our hockey coach. So we have a multi-sport, baseball, football, track, and hockey relationship too. So that's what was the foundation of giving back to Bennett Family Hall, to recognize our long commitment and relationship with the university. In addition, my mom Lou, my dad Steve, who's no longer with us, and my two sisters are all Wisconsin graduates. So we have 5 Luckies in our immediate family and a long relationship. And then as our lives evolved, we thought about Marcia, my wife Marcia Jordan, and I said, how could we give back on an even grander scale? And we actually, my wife is an ASU grad, so at the last year's fiasco of a game in Tempe, where I happened to be in Barry's box watching the game, we actually had the athletic department over to our house in Scottsdale the night before, and I told Chad, you know, come up with something that we'd want to invest in. And we did Bennett Family Hall, but we want to do something bigger for the university. And I owe Chad and Barry and our friends at the foundation, Mike Knetter and Alyssa, all the credit. And they came up with this concept. And I had been given a lot of opportunities, as all of you had, of things that you wanted to invest in your money. And I said this was perfect. This was an easy decision for Marcia and me because student athlete is what we were all about, and we think our success was driven in large part because of our experience at Wisconsin. So we were so thrilled to be able to give back to the university. And so I have to tell you a couple stories, enough about the Bennett family and this. So I came back in early September for the first football game, and we snuck in here on Wednesday night, September 6th, and it was the second day of class. Because the true success of an investment in a place like this is people are using the facility. So we snuck in, somebody let us in, probably broke all the security rules, but the place was darn near full. On the second day, we went to the computer lab, and it was almost full of people. And there were people sitting in the lobby, and we were so impressed that the student athletes were using the facility that we said, wow, are we ever glad we made this investment? So I'm proud to be a Wisconsin Badger, and I hope that this investment from Marcia and me will help all of the other 900 student athletes every year have the same degree of career and athletic success. One last thought. Think about, of those 900, how many are Mark Tauscher or Ron Dane every year that make their living in pro sports? What do you think the number is? I don't know, but it's less than 10 out of 900. So while this Student Athlete Performance Center will help us through the whole life cycle, from recruiting, which we've heard from coaches is helping on recruiting, to helping students be more effective while they're here, to hoping produce better alumni that are, have great long-term relationships with the university. This is for those 890 students and the 10, like Tausch, that are going to make it every year. So thanks to all of you that joined me in making this contribution. It's nice to be involved in something that has Wisconsin in the leadership in the Big Ten. On Wisconsin.
One more item of business here before we conclude here. We encourage you, if you haven't already, and if you have, do it again. Take a look at this entire facility, which includes the Ron Leafblad football team suite, the Forward Strength and Conditioning Center, the Mueller Sports Medicine Center, the Bud Selig Hall of Champions, the McLean Center, the Camp Randall Terrace, and the team tunnel that leads you onto the field. You just take the elevator back down to the first level, and some fine folks will be there waiting to direct you from there. Just to close, I have to amend what I've been saying for years. Tausch has talked about it, and the coaches and Steve about the University of Wisconsin and what makes this school so special, about how it's important not just to win, but to do it the right way. I used to always say it means a lot. I think it means everything. And you all in this room, it hits home just seeing it, all of you here tonight. It means everything to do it the right way. And your generosity is making that possible for the student athletes today and moving forward. Can't thank you enough. You make this place the best in the land. Thank you so much. On Wisconsin. Let's have a great day.